Right, guys, welcome to it. Welcome to Strength Out of Struggle, aka Fit Life with me, Kaz Abrams. This has been a dream come true where I'll be talking to a lot of interesting people talking about their journey to success. And I know everyone has got a story, everyone has been through some form of struggle or challenge that makes them better. And there's normally a fitness, wellness element to them. How did they make it to the place that they are? Of course, today, a longtime friend, I haven't seen him for years because he's been so busy cleaning up on the screens, and you'll know him very well. TV screens, movie screens, and much, much more. Please welcome my guest to Strength Out of Struggle today, Tumisho Masha.
Hey, Tada, how are you
Hey,
doing,
Tada.
guys?
Hola.
It's so good to see you, man.
Bro, it's
It's
like,
been forever.
and as you walked in,
Yeah.
so many memories are coming to play. Like,
Yeah, likewise.
as soon as I see you, it's like, whoa. There were so many first times.
Yeah.
Um,
I think we're
let's
going
go
to
to
talk
you.
about our first Time on Channel O.
Let's talk about the beginning.
All right.
I mean, what when you saw me today, what came to your mind?
Well, I just saw this dude. I remember seeing you for the first time. Like, I was one of the latecomers to Channel O. You guys had already been there for a couple of months, almost a year, I think it was. So I arrived on a channel that I really admired, that I really wanted to be on at that time. We were a bunch of young guys, and I just remember you being I remember you being taller, though. Maybe I was shorter.
You've grown up.
Have I grown up?
Oh, so my hairstyle was different.
Oh,
I
okay.
used to have the spiky,
All
straight
right, all right,
hair.
all right. But you were very like a cool, like good-looking brother, but who was very approachable and very cool to be around as well. And that's what I really enjoyed about that initial team of guys. Everybody was doing something, going somewhere. Everybody who was on that show has gone on to do big things.
Amazing things.
But the cool thing about it was that, you'd think that there'd be all this jealousy and backstabbing and hatred, but it was a bunch of people who loved what they did and actually had a lot of love for each other.
Yes.
And I still remember those days with fondness.
We were lucky that we were pulled together by a great team, Pam Devereaux Harris.
Yeah, Pam
And
Devereaux
we
Harris.
had coaches that trained us. So we weren't freestyling on TV. They picked a few people that had. It started off with I think 5 of us initially, but they picked, and everyone they added, they made sure that we were all empowered. So they taught us how to work the camera.
Yeah.
I remember once they were talking to us about changing gears and also
Yeah,
who are you?
yeah,
What are you selling? I remember Bongani now went on to carte
Bongani
blanche.
is now 702,
And so Bongani, what you are like, and you got to say what you are. I'm Bongani and I want to jazz you.
Yeah,
Everyone came with their own thing. Everyone had their own angle, but they trained us and they took us on a lot of workshops and team building.
Yeah.
And that's what brought us together, and we were all happy for each other.
Yeah.
When it first came out, we were like on a side channel. No one could see us, and then we crossed over to SABC and all the way through Africa.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I want to go back before we talk about that, because that was sort of when the career started happening for all of us. Where did it start off from you? Where did you come from? Where were you born?
Okay.
What was life like when you were growing up?
Well, I grew up in Pretoria, in the dusty streets of Pretoria, born in Mamelodi, raised, I say, in the townships of Soshanguve and Garankuwa. Those two places back and forth. And in between is a place called Mawapani that people who are from that side would be very familiar with. And I just remember always, from the time I was as young as I could remember, like I'm sure 4 years old, just having this sense of I wanted to do something that would always entertain people. So whether it was going to be as a musician, as an actor, as a dancer, whatever it was, I just wanted to be part of it from a point of view of entertainment. And I started out this whole thing at a very early age, being involved in school plays and whatever was happening. When it came to entertainment, I played in the school band in high school. I was a drummer in the jazz band.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. For years, I did piano as well, so I did that.
So music was always in you.
Music was always in me,
Okay.
But I think by the time I got to a point where it was a crossroads, I had to choose music or I had to choose acting. I realized that I probably wasn't as good a musician as I thought I was, and I was a much better actor and probably person who was better at conceptualizing and writing from a drama, film, and television point of view. So then I went to study drama and film at Wits.
Amazing. Let's go way back. It's keep it when you were in the hood. What was your first remembrance of inspiration? Was there a particular figure that inspired you to get out? A specific actor or musician? Anyone that comes to mind? Because I like to give people flowers while even if they're gone or they're still here. Who inspired you?
I think someone who was really amazing and did a great job, and I think needs to be remembered, because at the time I don't think he even got as much love as he gets now, as he should get now, but he's passed on, is Gibson Kente. I remember being very young and going to a Gibson Kente show in the local hall in Soshanguve, and watching this madness and just going, this is a circus, in a good way. And going, but this is so amazing because we get to see theater live, and it deals with social issues and local issues. Yeah. And that's where for the first time I could see, because, it moved people. Yeah. People were interacting with it. Like they would talk back to the
energy
actors.
there.
There was a lot of energy. And I was like, he's doing something that's bigger than just entertaining people. He's talking about social issues, which is, I think, something that the Soapies try to do coming up. They're still trying to do it in many ways. But I think it's a power that I think we forget that we have in entertainment and television. That we have a power to influence a nation.
Exactly.
And at the moment, what choices are we making to influence the nation positively, influence the youth positively?
Exactly. So Gibson Kente, right? So now you go to school. The moment you decided to go and start to study drama and stuff, what is that conversation like with the folks?
It's interesting, and I always say this to young people. Like, when you have a dream to do something and you know that it's in you, you're going to sometimes go up against opposition, and that opposition might be your own parents. My parents were professionals. My mother was a doctor, medical doctor. My father worked in corporate. He was in finance and that sort of thing. They were black professionals in the 80s, so it was really difficult for them to achieve that. And they were concerned.
That's pressure, bro. That's intellectual pressure.
You know what I mean? So they were concerned that they've done all this, they've made all these sacrifices, and they've worked so hard, and I'm just going to go and become this actor, like literally join the circus.
Yeah.
But what was great about them is they had intention. So they're like, okay, if you're going to do this, then like anything else you would have done, you still have to study for it. You can't just decide, I want to be an actor, and then go and try your luck and hustle. Yeah. So you got to come back here with a degree of some sort.
Take it serious.
Yeah. Because as much as people say, you don't need a degree or you don't need some sort of formal education, I think more than anything, it just gives you that sense of, one, you've invested in yourself. You know how to finish stuff, especially at an early age. When you're in your early 20s, late teens, you need to learn how to do stuff that sometimes you don't really enjoy all the time. Discipline, consistency, and getting through stuff and saying, I will get there no matter what. And I think that's what it gave me. Sure, I don't say that's the only way to make it, because you definitely don't need to go to varsity or study this thing to get it. But I think study something, do something that is an investment in self, something that pushes you, that challenges you to have that discipline and consistency.
So now, what is the first job that you got? Do you remember that?
I mean, in the entertainment industry.
Let's talk about the casting process.
All right.
People on the other side don't understand. Like, I don't know if I didn't have good luck in the beginning. I had to go from casting after casting. On the day that I got my biggest ad was the day that I was going to give up. I remember specifically thinking, because I'd always try extra. Everything was groomed. This time, because I used to be clean shaven, this time I was like, I don't care. I'm going to have my goatee. My hair's going to be loose. And when I get there, I'm going to be me.
Okay.
The crazy me that people really know.
Okay.
Because I don't give a damn. And I went in with that attitude. And I got the job.
Wow.
And I still remember asking the director afterwards, but like, why did you cast me?
Yeah.
And I remember he's from Denmark, and he explained to me as and then someone translated, he says, your enthusiasm.
Wow.
He says he knew that if he hired you, you were going to give him the energy, whether it was take after take after take.
Wow.
Because you could see that hunger.
Oh, wow.
That hunger.
Yeah.
And I always remembered that. Yeah. Every time I got a job after that, I remembered what he said. That to never lose your authenticity. Yeah. So it showed me that I was trying too hard to be something that I was not. Okay. And when I took a shot at being me,
that's when
and almost like I had no expectation.
Yeah.
So what is it? What do you remember?
Before I answer that, because I find that such a fascinating story. I just remember like always looking up to you as this guy who's like, you were born to be in this business, right? At the time when we were doing Channel O, you physically you were that guy who was authentically there, right? Who was like, okay, you are here for a reason, and from what you were always giving. And to hear you say there was a time when you wanted to give up, you weren't getting it.
I promise you, bro.
I think that's amazing for everyone to hear, that it doesn't matter what gifts you might have got, whether you're just good looking or you're built the right way, or
Sometimes you
whatever
don't know.
it is.
Remember, you only see through your eyes.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I only see you, and I know I've had this gift of seeing the God in people.
Yeah.
So when I see you, I'm not seeing me. I'm like, it's my guy, Tumisho.
Yeah, right.
I see your light. I always see that,
Yeah.
and I think I've always reflected that. And maybe, and that's just a reflection on what I see,
Yeah.
and not what I know in myself.
Exactly.
I've had to learn over years from
Yeah.
people constantly telling me that. But carry on, you're saying?
No, I mean that's a great story to tell people, because it just reminds people that you mustn't ever give up on yourself. One, okay? Keep trying in life, whatever it is, whether you're in the entertainment industry, whether you're doing something else. Understand that there's going to be some sort of opposition. There's going to be a mountain to climb. And the winners are the ones who just keep going no matter what. And then number two, that was really interesting about what you just said there, is be yourself no matter what. Always just be like no one else is.
There's only one you.
There's only one you.
That's the thing.
And that's amazing,
There's
man.
only one you.
But you had a question now. I forgot.
The first job.
So same thing with me. Similar thing where I was just going for audition after audition, and it seemed like I was wrong for every single one. You know, I think as a young person, and I always say this to young people when I'm with them, if I'm working with them, I always tell them this, guys or girls, understand this. People will tell you you are wrong for this part. They'll tell you you're either too short, too tall, too dark, too light-skinned, too thin, too muscular, too fat, too whatever. Like you're always wrong until you are right.
Am I right?
Don't worry about the people who tell you you are wrong. Don't worry about the no's, because you'll have a certain amount of no's. All you need is one yes. So it doesn't matter how many times they tell you.
1 year to change your whole life.
Yes, it's just one
like
yes.
the story of 10,000 hours or 10 years
All right.
to be an overnight sensation, or the definition of luck, which is preparation meeting opportunity.
Yeah.
When this lady called Aunt Carol said that to me, she said, do you know what luck is, Kaz? I'd always go and cook my chicken breast those days. Before I got onto TV, I didn't have an oven. I didn't have an oven, so I'd go to a friend's house and ask his mom, could I use the oven to grill these chicken breasts? Because I needed to put on size, because I was thin like Michael Jackson.
Okay.
You didn't meet me those days.
Okay.
And
I remember you were a great Michael Jackson impersonator as well.
That's how it all began, so I got discovered. But
yeah,
she was the most beautiful woman, God rest her soul. And she was like the oracle, the spiritual mentor, to always talk to me about God and with this beautiful smile. And she told me, do you know what luck is? I was like, what? Preparation meeting opportunity. Do you know what faith is? I was like, what? The belief in things unseen, my son. Remember those two things. And I was like, wow. So luck is actually not luck as you think it to be. Like you just fall on something. No.
Yeah, you don't just stumble on anything.
When you stumble on it, you've been preparing.
You stumble on what you've been preparing for. Yeah.
You stumble on what you prepare for. That's dope.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk about that first job.
So one of my first jobs was getting an audition, an opportunity to be in a Lion Lager commercial. So I had been going back and forth. Like I said, I was wrong for every part. Then I just got that one part, and it just like opened everything up.
Yeah.
And I think what it did as well is I was most authentically myself that day. I was also like...
you came with that smile, bro. Let's be honest. You came with that smile. You know, like...
I was like... But I was also like, I've tried so hard at this. And also, I don't even know if I want this. Because I was doing like serious drama at Wits, you know. We were doing Shakespeare and we were preparing to be these thespians. My plan was to do theater. Because, you know, like that very English type of theater.
Washington.
You know. And then I was like... we don't do soapies or ads or commercials as theater people, but I'll just do this.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
so there are no expectations.
No expectations, just be yourself. And the director was like, yo, we like what you're doing, you know?
Yeah.
And I was very excited about that because something happened in that moment that I realized, you know, one, it is preparation meets opportunity. And I'd been preparing for a long time.
Yeah.
But just be yourself, and the rest will follow. Everything else comes from that. And soon after that, I did get Channel O. And with Channel O, I just decided, hey, man, I'm just here.
So Channel O was your first proper commercial job, like?
Yeah, it was.
Besides that ad?
Yeah, besides that ad, it was my first proper, like job. In the, you know, before that, I was a promo.
No wonder you were so humble when you walked in. You were like, you know, you were just so cool. And I want to just say this because when you walked in, I just remembered.
Mm-hmm.
When we started with Channel O, I remember I just had this little Corsa And I go from casting to casting, and then I always had these dreams. I had seen the James Bond movie,
Yeah.
007 GoldenEye. And I went to this Reiki healer when I was having a lot of bad luck.
Yeah.
And this guy told me to go home and write a letter to myself from the Kaz 5 years ahead to the Kaz now, telling him all your dreams had come true. So put in as much detail. So I had nothing to lose, bro. I just had an accident. My car just got stolen. I had nothing. So I went and I write this letter. Like, Kaz, you won't believe you're on TV, you're in a movie, you got a few TV shows, you got the house of your dreams, the girl of your dreams, the car of your dreams. And I put in the picture of that Z3.
Yeah.
this
When that
envelope.
Z3 first came out.
And then he said, in the end, you write it out like, and let this happen in ways that are for the highest good of me and everyone involved. So you feel like it's blessed, it's God.
Yeah.
Then you seal it and you let it go.
Wow,
So I seal that stuff. A few years later, one thing happened to I got to work with, got a couple of movies, and I was like, nah, it can't be. This is that. When the Channel O thing happened, I was like, wow. Then one day, I remember I went to this car dealership with a friend of mine, and he was buying a car for his girlfriend. This was my mentor. His name was Charlie Pereira, rest his soul as well. And he gave me my first motivational book, actually, The Power of Positive Thinking.
Yeah.
I remember that. So this salesman said to me, what can I do for you? So I said to him, well, if you can get me a Z3 Blue at the same payments that I'm paying for this car, then I'll take it. But cocky like that.
Yeah, like whatever. Like, you know.
It was a Friday, I still remember. And I go home, and about 2 hours later, he says, bro, I'm not going to believe there's this person that's leaving for Australia. They got an emergency cell. It's actually Blue Z3, la la la.
What are the chances?
I shat myself.
Yeah.
Because that story of be careful what you ask for.
Right?
Now, my partner, she knew I had that encounter and that I put that. She's the only one that knew, because she took me to this guy, this Reiki healer.
Yeah.
You know, where I ended up going to learn how to be a Reiki healer myself.
Yeah,
afterwards.
okay.
So I said, listen, I got this call. I said, you remember a few years ago? She's like, you gotta go and check it out.
At least, right? You owe it to yourself.
So I go through. I remember taking a test drive, and I'm like, whoa. So I'm like, okay, this is amazing. Like everything. And guess what the number plate said, bro?
What?
The number said CA 007. It was a Cape Town number plate. Because I had to change it.
Yeah.
But that was the number plate.
That when you found it.
And I didn't tell you that a year before then, the reason why I wanted this car is because I saw one in Cape Town outside the Virgin Active there.
Wow.
While I was with my mentor, I said, look.
Yes.
And CA is Cape Town number plate, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, no, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to make this all about me, but we'll check.
No.
The story is coming to a conclusion.
Yeah.
So I go home. The next morning, I get a call.
A Saturday.
The car's yours. Bring down the car through trading. Everything's gone to the banks. Charlie made sure that my paperwork.
Dude, my guy. My guy.
So I remember going. I was.
Yeah. I can imagine.
I picked this car, bro. I'm still thinking, drop top, how you press this button? I'm scared to drive this thing. I'm driving down.
Yeah, it's a lot, you know?
From Edenville. And I just remember taking that roof off and screaming. Woo-hoo! Like.
You did it, yeah.
That night we were having a Channel O gig in town at, what is that big Baseline?
Yeah, Baseline.
And it was our end of the year party. We had Lebo Matosa, then everything else.
Man.
So we got there, bro. Got there, and there's no parking. There's only like a space right in front.
Oh, my goodness.
So I ride in, I park the car. And I'm like, who the hell do I tell? Because I'm scared to be, like, I don't know what the anyway.
Yeah.
And I was excited to see you, because I remember, I know this, because you're always honest about being inspired and everything else. And I wanted to share this with you.
Yeah.
And I saw you, I'm like, I got to show you something.
Uh-huh.
And then
we went outside. We just chilled in that car.
You're the first person.
I lost my mind. It was so amazing.
And the feedback you gave me was enough. Other people had a different vibe. But a long story short, I found it again. Yes. I had to sell it when my daughter was born.
Yes. Well, I mean, it was a 2-seater. But it didn't have baby seats back then.
But I promised her, because now she's all grown up, that one day Daddy's going to find that car.
Oh, wow.
She don't even know I got it.
Wow.
I'm busy fixing it up.
No way.
Bro,
That's a classic, man.
Bro, So anyway, that moment of manifestation I shared with
yeah,
you, that's
yeah.
why today is so important.
Yeah.
Because after that moment, I almost felt like I was passing on some spiritual torch to you. And I said to you, remember, anything is possible.
I remember you saying that. I actually remember you saying those exact words.
Now let's talk about what happened since then. Because since then, let's talk about TV.
Yeah.
TV, movies. Let's talk about the catalog. Just a bit of braggadociousness. Just
Well,
go
I
for
mean,
it.
I have to say that, like, I remember those words and I felt like it was a blessing. You know, like how someone
was.
prays over you, someone that, like, really cares about you.
Exactly.
Like, kind of, I felt that in my spirit. It was like just big. It was like a big thing at the time for me because I felt very honored that you'd share this thing that you had
I
gotten.
told you it's going to happen for you.
Yes. And I was like so happy for you for getting, because like I always saw you as like this big brother kind of figure. Like, my big brother's doing so well, you know, he got this car and it couldn't have happened to a nicer person, a more deserving person, someone who cares about people genuinely. And I wanted you to know that this was something that I felt was amazing for you.
Bro.
And then you said to me, something is going to happen for you as well. Just like stay in there.
What you didn't know is I had the sight. But I was letting you know.
And I was like, thank you. But I was like, thanks, man. We'll move on.
Yeah.
And then, like, things just opened up. You know, before long, I was doing, I was starring in my own TV series. I was a presenter on Mnet.
Let them know. What TV series?
Well, there was a TV series called Brothers, small TV series. But then next thing, I'm one of the few presenters on Mnet, like the Continental Mnet, you know, when they still had that.
Yeah.
Then boom, there's Isitingo. And then it was like, it was just popping off. I got married. Everything was just happening the way that you had said it would, you know? And suddenly I'm this like national star. I mean, Channel O was big, but I think nothing prepared me for how big it was to be on like a national TV station that goes all over the
Now
continent
pause,
as
because
well.
now we're going to talk about something that I know you experienced just like I did. What people don't realize is there's a point when you realize your dreams and you think, when this happens for me, I'm going to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
Then you hit the moment like, oh shit, that didn't fill that hole.
Yeah.
Then all those holes are revealed.
Yeah.
And you got to find the self. Let's talk about the moment. So that all this is happening. Was there a moment that you thought that everything was just going to fall apart? And how did you come back from that? So we're talking about the strength of the struggle, because it's not all roses and honey.
I'd say pretty much soon after that.
Yeah.
You know, now I'm married.
Let's talk about that moment.
I probably got married too young. I probably wasn't emotionally and spiritually ready for it myself, because I think marriage is not an easy thing. And it's for a man, marriage is about dying. It's about dying to self. And that is very, very hard. And something they don't tell you, especially when you're in your 20s, that you, to make this thing work, have to die to self. Like, you have to give up all the things that you like the boys' nights, like this and that, like your own way and stuff like that. And then, you know, the Bible says, man, love your wife. And we just think it's about buying them flowers, right? And then like getting them a house and taking care of them, like from a financial point of view. But it's more than that. It's like once you have children, you understand. Real love, and I saw with my own daughter, is you love someone unconditionally, even when they don't even love you back, or when they're not behaving in a way that you would like, or they're doing things that hurt your feelings, and you still choose to love them. Like Jesus loved the church. I mean, that's what it says. Like, you gotta love your wife. And that means you gotta be prepared to die. And it's probably, we think it's like a physical death. I just gotta be able to stand in front of a bullet. No, it's actually like the things that you want, sometimes you gotta let go of and just be part of this new thing. And the great thing about letting go is the moment you let go of something, the very thing you usually let go of is actually given back to you. Right? The very thing that you thought you couldn't let go of. The relationships around you, the friendships, the life that you want, it's given back to you, but it's probably given back to you most of the time in a different way, but a much better way than what you thought. And it was just something that I had to realize with also achieving so much from a point of view of career-wise, that I realized that you get to the top, and it's almost like, you know, in those computer games, you get to a stage and then there's a boss, there's another boss until you get to the final boss, right? It's like getting to the VIP of VIP rooms, where it was like a big club, then it's a smaller club, then it's like a velvet rope with 5 people, and then it's just you in a room by yourself.
By yourself.
And that's what success is. It's you and God. Like true ultimate success, you realize there's nobody else here but me and God. And if I don't have a relationship with the
and your shadows, and if those shadows don't whip you up first, if there's no acceptance. So let's talk about the worst moment when you felt like just like, what's this all about? When nothing made sense to you anymore.
I think it was, the worst moment in that moment for me was losing it all, after my first divorce, and just lying there one day in my bed and just going, what is the purpose of all of this? What's the point? How does this even work? And feeling so small, like, actually, what was the purpose of having all this if it can be so easy taken away anyway? But then realizing that the financial things that you sometimes go out for and like you think are going to make you something, like they're going to do this thing for you, they're going to fix everything, are just things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The real work is inside. Yeah. And the real work is with you.
The kingdom is within.
Yeah, it's you and the higher power, the creator, God, whatever you call that entity that is responsible for all life.
Yeah.
That is the goal in life. And everything that we do, actually, everything that happens, good or bad, it's about getting into a tighter and better relationship with God.
Yeah.
And once you realize that, then you realize that, you know what? When I have, I'm content. When I have a lot, I'm content. When I have nothing, I'm content. Either way, I'm just content because what I got, nobody can take that away.
It's so funny because I was just talking to someone about that this morning. They were like, but brother, how come you like always like up here?
Yeah, how come you're so chipper?
I'm like, bro, I've been to hell and back a few times, number one. I think the blessing for me was being born and losing it's not a good, I don't wish this on anyone.
Yeah.
Losing my dad, going into a situation where you're depending on the help of others for food, for this, for that. But being so grateful. I learned at a young age to be so grateful for the small things. I forgot about that when things started blowing up, right? And then I had a few more things, like my brother killed himself because same issues we were going through. And then later on, the shadows came to meet me, to test me. When you're thinking, like, what's it all about, I ended up pushing a lot of people away. My family, my friends. I think my kids probably saw things that I wouldn't want. Because we always want to be a better father, right?
Yeah.
And I thought in retrospect that I was being a good father. Now I know that I was comparing myself to the rest of the guys in the hood. So I was a gentleman with the gangsters, like in my approach and everything else. But there's levels, guy. Maybe this one is so fragile, they can't hear those things. They're not meant to. It's taken me all this time to realize, oh, shoot, true power is in being gentle.
Yeah.
The more powerful I am physically, whatever, the smaller I must be.
Yeah.
The more I must humble. But I had to almost die to realize these things.
Yeah.
So now it's like I have never felt as much bliss as now because I'm grateful for anything, bro. The roof over my head, a slice of bread. And like you said now, for some reason, when you give up the things that you really, really are desperate for, when you let go of desperation, because what happened to me was like I realized that I was sitting by myself and thinking, like questioning God and what happens after death, watching a lot of those things. And I'm like, shit, we don't take a case across. We came with nothing, bro. We leave with nothing. Yeah. Don't care if you're a billionaire, how many Oscars, how many Grammys, and all those things. We're trying to tickle those bucket lists. I'm like, shit, then what am I doing now? Then I realized it's about legacy. That's what this show is about. Everything I'm doing now is about leaving some form of legacy. If I'm gone, what will they remember me for? How will they attach my kids to it? What am I leaving for them? What am I leaving behind? And I remember one thing that Will Smith said about his grandmother saying, my grandmama always used to say that every place you go, leave it better than before you entered it.
Before you came through, right?
And that is staying with me. And with that awareness, everything shifted because it doesn't matter if it's a good day or a bad day. It's also about non-attachment because there's so many ups and downs, a lot of illusion. And the true peace and joy is only with the kingdom within. the acceptance of who you are, acceptance of the shadows.
Exactly.
Because
even
you gotta,
even that.
the minute you deny your shadow, it keeps on biting. You'll be like, okay, I see you. Hold fast.
I see you, but
I see you, bro. That's not the time.
But you're not the star of this show.
Yo, we're in service now to our IOP. So now, you get to this point where you realize that, okay, you got this.
Yeah.
They can't take it from you. What happens from that point on? Last time we met, just quickly, was we hadn't seen each other for a long time, and then I got the call to come on to Josie H.
Oh, dang, yeah.
International, so now you're a doctor, yeah?
Jeez, that's some time ago, 2006.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got to play this because I went to study Stanislavski.
Yeah.
Method acting.
Yeah.
That's why I wouldn't just take jobs. And I was like,
Yeah.
I was looking for gritty parts to portray characters.
Yes. And you played a gangster in that, right?
This wife abuser, this guy.
You were amazing in that.
Bro, it was intense.
Yeah.
I need to get the footage of that. I don't know how to get it.
We'll
talk about it.
I've got some footage at home in my mom's house.
But anyway,
yeah.
I remember still, I ended up getting shot and it's hectic and you operating on me. I'm like, in between takes, I'm like, I'm gonna lie there. This guy that it's fine in the beginning, he's operating on me. Yeah. Check 1, 2, blah, 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 blah. I was killing myself. I'm playing like I'm almost dead there, and this guy's operating. He's the chief surgeon. Bro.
That's crazy.
So what happened from then till now? What's happened? Where are you now with family, with life, with your goals, with your dreams?
I think the greatest gifts that I've gotten are things that money can't buy.
Yeah.
You know, I've got the most amazing person who's accepted me for what I am. She found me when I was probably at my lowest, had nothing, living at my mom's house, 41-year-old. And I suppose in the public eye, I was like a pariah, you know. And this amazing, beautiful woman wanted to be with me. And that was like...
I bet you couldn't believe it. Like,
nah, I couldn't. That's where... But I saw God in that. I just like, every day, like even when we fight, I'm just like, listen, this is a God-given gift. And you got to treat it as such.
Yeah.
You know. So don't take that for granted because there was nothing that you weren't smooth enough. You weren't cool enough.
You at a low.
I was at a low. I wasn't even trying to lie to her. Like, first date, she said, I just told her everything. I was like, this is what's happening, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Wow, I love this guy's honesty. I remember, like, third or fourth date, I had to ask her to buy me petrol, you know?
Yeah.
And
this is stuff that people don't know. We've had the highs and lows already, and this is still happening. This real life still kicks in because as an artist, people think, and just remember where you are. Don't lose line of that. Is let's say we're doing a TV show, folks. You're doing 13 episodes. You film those 13 episodes, let's say in 1 month.
Yeah.
You get paid for that, for those 6 months of viewing or whatever.
In 1 month.
In a 1 month. That's paying for your rent, for your stuff. Yeah. Now, month 3, the fame is kicking in when the money's kicking low.
Yeah. So it's like the fame is doing that, and the money, like they meet like this.
And you're in the mall.
Yeah.
Hey, and you gotta like, oh shit, you gotta.
You're standing at the line in ShopRite. You know what I mean? It's like
buying bread. Interesting times.
Yeah.
So people don't understand it. So let's talk about. I just had to mention that because that's a real thing.
That's a good thing that you mentioned. That you gotta bring that in.
You gotta realize if you really love this thing, don't just think you're gonna hop into it, become a superstar, and get paid. You gotta be clever with your money.
Yeah, and
you gotta know how to handle yourself.
That notion of being a superstar, even when you are a superstar, you know, just understand that it's one. I don't want to say it's an illusion because that's a bit cliche, but it is an illusion. But it's a side effect of the job. It's not the real thing. The real thing is that you are an employed person who happens to be on television. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So treat everybody good and treat everybody the same, whether you're at the top or you're at the bottom. Here's the funny thing that I always like, if you've been in this game long enough, you know, you and I have been in this game since the late 90s. Since Abraham.
Remember, I am Abraham actually. So
right? Kaz Abraham, right?
Yeah,
so it's like, if you think about it, it's almost 30 years that we've been around. And there's cycles. You've seen so many people there.
Yeah.
And then when they were there, they were like, they almost acted as if it was never going to change.
Yeah.
And then one day you meet them somewhere. Like, you know, it's happened to me.
I'm glad, bro, that I've been through a few cycles because now it's like I ain't coming here for the fame. Like everything is legit. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm here to be of service. If there's a
Right.
side effect, I put the light on what needs to be. It's
Yeah.
here to be strength
Yeah.
out of struggle, fit
Yeah.
life to inspire people,
Right.
and just to live the best from here on. And hopefully to make amends for all the bullshit that I may have done if I've hurt anyone or done anyone wrong. As when you get enlightened or realized, you just want to do better as you know better.
Exactly.
So you were saying?
No, I mean, you're saying everything that I wanted to say in a very beautiful way, but like it's a wheel. So sometimes you're at the top, sometimes you're at the bottom, but just be consistent. Yeah. That's all. Just pitch up when you're the star of the show, like with love, with appreciation for everybody who's part of what is happening for you, because everyone's there to help you as well, you know, and they're helping you shine. So appreciate them because they're doing an amazing job, you know. Yeah. Like when I was operating on you. Like if you didn't play that bad guy well, I wouldn't have been believable that this doctor is operating on this guy who just is abusing his wife, and he's got a dichotomy in his brain of I gotta save his life, but he almost killed his wife. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So appreciate the people that are just that might be coming into your show or into your space for a short time. Also, you might be that person.
Yeah.
The next time round.
It's like.
Right? I might just be coming onto your show and just be playing a small part in it.
Yeah.
But when I do come in, I don't want to have that thing of, oh, dang, last time when it was my show, I acted like an absolute idiot. And now I have to come in and be like, hey, how you doing? You know, while you getting the star treatment. And I always try now, and I think for some time now, to make sure that wherever I find myself, but more especially if I'm number one in the call sheet or I'm the star of the show, whatever it is, to try and make everyone who comes onto it feel appreciated, feel special, feel like they're part of the team with me. Yes. You know what I mean? So that they don't walk away. They must always walk away feeling like I saw them. I think that's really important to me.
People only want to be seen. I mean, don't you find even when you're driving and you're at the robot or something and there's a homeless person there or whatever, and sometimes people just look straight like, I ain't giving you shit, I ain't got nothing to give you. Sometimes even if you have nothing to give, sometimes that person just wants to holler. Like,
right? Just
I got so many homies now. They just call me One Up. Like, because I got my logo on the back of the one car. Okay. But the point is, that's right. One Up, when One Up can, One Up will break bread. But know this, I will shout you out.
Yeah.
Because I can't not look at you. I'm like,
I have a problem.
What's up?
I can't not.
I see
don't know
you.
If it's a South African thing.
I see you, guy.
And it's our generation, but I just can't not say hello. Like
I can't.
Even to random. Like sometimes I'm like, I don't want to say hello. I don't.
Guy, you know, the guy at the gym yesterday. True story. You know, okay. He says to me, "Yo, Kaz, you need sanitizer." I'm like, "Why, bro?" He said, "Bro, I've watched you from the front entrance all the way through. You shaking everyone's hand." And I was like, it wasn't. I don't know if it's conscious or not, but it is. It's spilling over of what I feel, and
who you are.
All I said was like, that's God energy, bro. Because I'm in a space where I'm loving me, so I'm gonna love what I see around you.
The cup is overflowing.
I got no time to play. Yeah. Even other people are like, oh, but you look like hardcore. Even more so, I must come down. Don't be scared of me. I'm here to love. Like, you know. So, and I promise you, I'm like LeBron there in the gym because everyone's got their own handshake.
Yeah.
You know, LeBron shakes. You're like, and I'm loving it. This is the best time of my life because of the realizations. And
I agree with you. I think spiritually, emotionally, mentally, I'm in the best place in my life I've ever been. Physically, I'm in a good place. I wish it was easier to let go of the weight as it was when I was in my 20s.
Well, that's why you had to come to me.
Okay, I come see you, dog. You know,
you got to come back home.
It's the only thing that I'm like, I've got the creaks now happening where I'm like, you know, like what's going on? Like the lowering of energy, but I'm still trying to maintain it. Like from a physical point of view, I'm still working out. And I think that's important. Physically, you still got to do something. Yeah. Because you are a spiritual being having physical encounter, physical experience, but you are still having a physical experience.
So let's talk about that because, as you know, that's what I'm now. I went and got paperwork to certify that I'm a proper physical therapist and
Okay.
wellness coach
Yeah.
as well. And that's what I'm actually here to do, because I realize by changing the person's personal physical habits, it affects everything in their life.
Mm.
Longevity,
Yeah.
metabolism, wellness, DHEA release. It's a natural antidepressant. What were you doing? Let's talk from when your younger years and through the acting to keep fit, and
Okay.
what type of food were you eating? Were
Yeah.
you aware or not? And where are you now?
I've always been a very active person. So when I was in school, I always played some sort of sport, and I played it at a level of
What
like,
is your chosen sport?
well, I started out with soccer, and
Yeah.
then the schools I went to in high school like insisted on rugby.
Yeah.
So I'd play some of that, and obviously weight training.
Yeah, yeah.
In my early 20s, I stayed in the UK for a bit, so I switched to basketball for most of my early 20s. Came back to South Africa, went back mostly to, I'd say, soccer and some boxing and, a little bit of kickboxing.
Nice.
Not so much the grappling stuff, which I would really love to get into.
We're gonna get you into the gym, don't worry.
All right. And mostly, I think from my early 20s till now, it's been a lot of like lifting weights and
Yeah.
the traditional gym stuff that we
Yeah.
do.
Well, I mean, science is proving that resistance training is even more important than we thought.
Mm.
Because what it does is the more muscle you have, it increases your bone density, especially your legs. So the stronger your legs, it links to longevity.
Okay.
Your brain grows.
Yes, it does.
And assimilates more when you train. So science is backing up everything. Thank God that I believed in. And now it's time to share. Where are you at now with all of that? And
I'm still active. So 3 times a week, I do resistance training. And then twice a week or 3 times if I work out on a Saturday, I'll do like more cardio, which is when I take my long walks. I don't run anymore.
Well, walking's important. People don't realize that walking at a longer period for at least 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah. I take very long walks.
Utilized more to burn body fat. And what you want to do is do a combination of the resistance and the walking, because the resistance is anaerobic anyway. So resistance is also going to burn body fat.
Okay.
As long as you're trying to do supersets or giant sets and stuff like that.
So I'm this is exactly what I try to do, is like supersets. I've lowered the weight a little bit because now I'm like, it's about
technique
and also avoiding injury. I find that there's no point I'm doing shoulders with like the heaviest weight I can, but after that I can't do shoulders for the next 3 months.
You got to stop the ego training. I've learned the hard way.
Yeah.
And so I got to be at that physio every week, maintaining and getting over old injuries from living a hard life and a hardcore life young. So
is the fighting also like,
there's a lot of
contributed to some of your injuries?
a little bit, but in fact the fight training made me more aware, if anything.
Okay.
I found that I hurt myself more in clumsy ways. Like let's say one day I was playing basketball and a friend of mine, I was showing him how to play, and I was defending. And he thought I was playing unfair, and he just pulled the socket out of my right arm. Like, 'cause he thought I was cheating.
What? That can happen? Like, you can just pull a socket out of someone's arm?
Yeah, he was bigger than me.
Okay.
And he basically thought I was messing around.
Yeah.
Thought I was messing with him, so he pulled my hand. Like, what's the point of playing? But he couldn't get the ball.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, that's basketball.
That's how you're supposed
I'm
to
not going to
play.
bounce in front of you. I'm allowed to turn my back
Yeah.
to pivot,
Crazy.
Another time was maybe twisting my ankle, also playing basketball.
Yeah.
Okay, this was an elbow.
What? Playing basketball?
No, this was BKFC before it was legal.
What's BKFC?
Bare knuckle fight.
Bare knuckle? You doing bare knuckle? Why? Why would someone do bare knuckle?
Okay, that's the same thing. Why? I was plastering. I went through a bad split up, and I was plastering in unhealthy ways.
Oh.
Nobody knew, bro. I was functioning, drinking on the side, having this.
Yeah.
And then I had all this pepped up aggression. I couldn't see family members and stuff, people that I missed and stuff. And I was like, I wanted to kill myself. I was like, I wanted to take myself to the edge.
Okay.
I wanted to inflict the pain on me, that just to make me feel something. And one day I got sight of this undercover thing before it was legal or anything. And I pitched up and I just didn't give a damn. And then I got in that ring. It's a different type of ring because it's
round.
Yeah, it's pro.
Yeah.
Like no corners there, bro.
Yeah.
And
There's no, you can't hide.
it's just your wrist there that get buckled up. And then when I'm in there, all of a sudden I'm just like, I'm on this high, bro. And Within a few seconds, this guy comes in, and then the elbow comes here, and I see blood. And something triggers in me, and I just go one. Ba, ba, ba. When this guy falls down, the first reaction wasn't a feeling of, yes. It was a feeling of, what have you done?
Wow.
In that moment, I remember so many moments when someone may have said, you're strong. Like, even if you touch me, you know what I'm saying? I was like, shit. Excuse my language. I didn't realize my own power.
Yeah.
Because I always thought I was still that thin little kid from the hood who was doing Michael Jackson. So if I push you, you can't feel anything.
Yeah.
So imagine I'm with my partner and she's arguing with me or whatever, and I push her.
Yeah.
Imagine if she fell down and broke her neck or something.
Yeah, because that happens a lot.
That moment made me feel bad for everything, every argument I had before. Even though I thought I was this up-to-do gentleman. From even holding a woman's hands or pushing her away from me, like leave me alone.
Yeah.
I realized that just this push can make a man fly. Imagine anyone else, whether it's a child or a this or a that. And I was like, I'm lucky that no one got hurt. And I have to be honest, because that's what this whole thing's about.
Yeah.
In that moment, there's a moment of awakening.
Oh, wow.
Because I was like, oh, shit.
Was that your last fight?
The last and final. Then I just focused on training. Because
Okay.
in that moment, I was like, I'm not born for that. I'm born to be the light bearer. I'm to share light, to bring people home.
Yeah.
But it also made me realize that I was born to be me, to have all this knowledge so that I could have that compassion and empathy. I see things that other people don't see. I understand things that people don't understand normally. But I can also talk to someone that's maybe too far gone and say, listen, I've been where you are. You just hold fast.
But isn't that what it's about, this whole journey? And I always say that God doesn't waste our pain. So don't worry about what you're going through, because if you can just get through it, like you said, fuss. What happens is you'll realize later on that what you went through wasn't actually even for you. Yeah. It was for someone else. It was for
a lesson.
You. Yeah, it's a lesson so that when you get to someone else who's going through it, you can impart and share what you went through to help that person. So there was a time when, after my second divorce, where I was going through a lot in terms of, I couldn't see my one and only daughter, and I fought through that. It was a very difficult period, and sometimes I'd be told, going through the courts. I remember trying to enforce a court order and going to the police station, and the policeman one day saying, listen, we can't do this for you. Why don't you just forget about this child? And when she's 18, she'll come and find you. They always do. And I was like, there's just no way. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Because what happens in between that? And if anything,
those years are gone.
I am the father. I must fight for her. She mustn't fight for me.
Exactly.
That's not how this thing works. But I stayed in the fight, and I'm very grateful to my wife, who was then my partner, my girlfriend, for encouraging me and pushing me. Like, it was not an option for me to give up.
Yeah. And
what I realized was it was an 8-year battle, court battle. And I kept saying, God, why are you allowing this to happen for so long? There'd be times when I'd be questioning, like, his wisdom. Like, don't you see? Like, I'm praying, I'm fasting, I'm doing all the right things, but it's still... And then afterwards, when it all came together, it was revealed to me that actually I had to go through everything. Because that's the only way I could really learn and understand the court system. Strength out of struggle. So now, if anyone's got a problem, I'm not going to give you some glib advice, some half-baked, you just do this and do that. That's what I did. When you say, I've been struggling with the court system, I can say, okay, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Okay, let's try that. Let's try that. Because I know that it is possible to do everything right with this court system and still not be able to see your child.
And there's also a situation where we can appreciate the court system as well. Like, I've also had to go through the court system, but like now, with the space of realization, I can see myself honestly. Like, I see where I acted inappropriately without even knowing it. Or spoke a certain way, or my volume was too high. And in fact, this is what acting has helped me with. I remember when I got a part on Sinbad.
Oh, yeah.
When I went for that audition, a week before I was casting for Shaka Zulu, but they didn't need anyone my color.
Mm.
But the director wanted to see me, so I went to see the director, and I remember playing it like da 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 da. Director says to me, Kaz, got a lot of potential, but I want to tell you something I want you to take with you. With how you look, you don't have to play it that loud. You can just play it here and it comes across as missing. The next week I went to Krista. Remember Krista?
Yeah.
So I went to Krista and I did the casting for Sinbad and her husband on the camera.
Yeah.
And
Bugby.
he was also there that time. The director told me that. And I came in, he says, remember what happened last week? The director said, play it here. So I was like on some, I'm sorry, and this is my master, Kundalini. Now, I was so used to being having a squeaky voice, bro. My energy up here, I thought, no, but that's fake, you know?
Yeah.
Dude, I got the job.
Mm-hmm.
But that also made me aware of my tone in general going forward. It's taken me all these years to realize how many times I've spoken too loud or been too aggressive because I still think I'm that small kid getting bullied in the hood.
Yeah.
With my ex, with some people. Like, it's always happened. Now I'm speaking from a place of awareness, like, oh, you don't have to.
Yeah.
You know,
but isn't that an amazing lesson? I mean, like you referred to that small kid, and I think for a lot of us men, when we get older, like sometimes we do things that get us to where we are because we're trying to protect that little kid who was bullied, right? So I want to learn how to fight. I want to lift weights.
All that, bro.
So that never happens to me again. And we get to the other side and realize, I got to go back to that little kid because in many ways I'm still that guy.
Yeah.
And then forgive myself for what I went through. Because sometimes trauma is about, I'm sorry, little man, that you had to go through that trauma at that time.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that maybe at that time when you went through it, you felt weak and whatever. But I forgive you for how you reacted. Going forward, we know that we don't have to be afraid anymore.
We know better.
We know better.
Now, the unfortunate thing, or the fortunate thing is the unfortunate thing is now we've got to go to those bridges and try and heal stuff with people that are close to us, our own children, our own siblings, whatever. The good thing is that we have the insight. Yeah. But now there's a realization that everyone heals at their own time. You know, it's like you may be ready, but they're not ready. Exactly. You know, so it's like you could win the court case, but you still got to be patient because it's a child's heart, it's someone's heart, and they've got to be ready.
Yeah,
I'm at a space now where when I send a message to my children, I can't wait to send that message and to let them know how I feel. Everything I never said that I was unable to say. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why didn't you say that before? It's now I'm like I remember this memory. I want them to know how much I love them. They don't know that every step, everything I do is for them. It's because of how they may feel about me.
Yeah.
And it's completely humbling.
Yeah.
That's what this show is inspired by. It's like, it's one last chance to live a legacy, to be authentic.
But the cool thing about that, human. Yeah, the cool thing about that is I think your kids, kids are very special people. The fact that you're trying means that they'll accept, and I think a lot of fathers out there who might think maybe I messed up at a certain point when you were growing up. It's never too late to make amends and to start again.
Never too late.
And the kids will appreciate that at least you're trying to do that. And they will come around eventually.
What's the most important lesson that you've learned as a father?
I think it's just that, like, let them grow. One, I think the first one is that if I have this immense love for my child, I can't imagine how much love God has for me. So that really improved my relationship with God. That was the first thing, because I was like there's certain things that, like, the Bible says, if you being good, and if you not even being good, but our father and your child ask for bread, would you give them stone?
Yeah.
They ask for a fish, would you give them a snake? Yeah. And you go, I'm not even that perfect.
Or the birds have shelter and food.
Yeah.
What do you think your father will do for you?
Right. And so my relationship with my father now in heaven is like, before I'd be like, we spoke about this. I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to have all these things. Why am I struggling financially? I'm so upset. As opposed to whatever struggle that I'm going through, it's like, God, thank you for this moment.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Because I know that the struggle is part of your plan to get me somewhere. I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
If anything, just help me to stay in the fight and the struggle
Yeah.
until you reveal it to me.
100%.
Because even that is about trust. Because he doesn't always reveal it to you. God doesn't have to answer to you.
Yes.
But having realized that, I'm more at peace and I have a lot more faith to go, okay, I'm going through this. It's not easy, but
human.
I trust. I'm human about it.
Yeah.
In fact, I can even be human with you. Like, hey, man, not that I'm asking for this or that, but I'm just letting you know that, I'm struggling with this and that.
Yeah.
And I don't need you to give me anything except it's going to be okay.
Exactly.
And a lot of the times that's more than everything that we need. But as a father, from a father point of view, it made me realize that our job is, these kids are in our lives. They didn't choose to be here, although I do believe they chose this experience with us.
Mm-hmm.
Like your kids chose this experience to be with you.
That's deep. Our souls are connected.
Yeah, right. So our job is just to be that guide to complete their spiritual experience in this physical realm. And some of that might not be clean or neat. Some of it might sometimes be messy.
Yeah.
And maybe that's part of the journey that they were supposed to go through with you. And as a child, I've learned to forgive my parents for some of the things that I felt, how could you do that to me? But also I've learned to ask them for forgiveness for some of the things that I put them through as a child.
Yeah.
So it's a two-way street. And I find that once you're at that point, like being a father there's no real manual for it, even though people write books all the time.
Bro.
I think, okay, that's really nice. I'll read it, but there is no one way
fits. Each individual is unique.
So unique.
You're unique. Your kids are unique.
Love your kids enough to forgive them when they make mistakes and forgive yourself when you make mistakes. I think that's the biggest thing.
I think what's, before we close up, I think I got to a moment where, when I was thinking about all of this, that one part in Amistad, the end.
Okay. Yeah.
When he was at that point in court and he was like, give us free. And he said in his language, basically, I stand here for everyone that came before me. And I realize my dad's mistakes, my mom, theirs before them. But at this particular moment, if I decide to, I can change.
You have the power.
I can change everything.
Yeah.
I can change the cycles, because there are some
there
cycles.
There are generational cycles.
There's cycles and there's whatever you call them. Yeah. I've seen them, I've witnessed them, and I'm only when you stop and go, whoa.
Yeah. How do I change it?
I am not getting ruled by default. I'll use my choice.
Yeah.
From this point onward, it shall not be passed on. So then you start saying, thank you that your kids weren't exposed to this part where you had to go and find this out. Now you're at a place where you're like, oh my God, thank you. Because you wouldn't be here without going through it.
Yeah.
Strength out of struggle again.
But the great thing is, I always say, like to any father, with whatever you've been through with your kids, I think it's amazing if you have older kids that have seen that version of you and this version of you. Because I think that's sometimes a lot more authentic than you're born and your parents are seemingly these perfect people and they never tell you, when I was younger, these are the mistakes I made. Yeah. Because they're going to go through their own journey of making mistakes as well. And they're going to need that voice in their head to go, Dad was right about something. He said he made mistakes. One day I'll make mistakes, but it's not the end of my story. And I think
Dad made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, right? And I think being an authentic father who can say that is just such an amazing thing. And I thank my dad for also being that kind of guy who was like, at some point he was like, I made some mistakes and I'm sorry. And I was like, what?
But that's the thing is, I think also having the ability to send these messages or say to them, listen, I'm sorry for some things as well. It takes away some of that load,
Yeah. I think that's very important.
Or sometimes you'll remember something, you want to talk to your parent about it. And if they have the ability to be like, listen, I didn't know better. But sometimes if they're stuck, then you're stuck until you're not stuck. And then you are able to move beyond it and grow. Before I ask you your last question, Maxwell added one song we used to play on Channel O called Lifetime.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of summarizes where we are at now. We want to get it right this lifetime.
Yeah.
So everyone that follows us lives the best life possible. And hopefully the people out there got something from it. The closing question is, because I always believe in fitness and health, what is a fit life to you? The definition of fit life for you?
I think the definition of fit life is at whatever age or stage that you find yourself in. you're still able to enjoy the body that you've been given, in terms of just being able to do stuff with it that you've always wanted to do, and acknowledging though that at every stage things are different. I'm certainly not going to go onto a soccer pitch and kick a ball around and play
Sprain an
like
ankle and a knee.
I'm not going to play that kind of competitive football with younger guys. But I like to play paddle now.
Yes.
So that I'll
everyone's
do.
playing paddle.
Yeah, right. So I'll go with my nephew. He's like late teens, early 20. And
watch your ankle on the paddle court, though. Eh?
Oh yeah.
Be careful.
Make sure that I wear those shoes, right? You know, the proper kind of footwear.
Yeah.
But I'm out there at least doing that. I make sure that every now and again I hit some pads. I hit a heavy bag, just to remind myself that hey, I can move.
Yes.
And then when I'm with my wife and we're out somewhere, especially for traveling, we make sure that we walk the city that we're in. You know, as much as possible, we walk. So I'm always aware that I've got to maintain my fitness, because my wife is going to want to go out there and she's going to want to walk. And it's really helped, because it also helps me deal with the night stuff. So I'm not going to drink too much tonight.
Yes.
Because tomorrow I've got to be up and I've got to be present, you know, so I can't be hungover and all that. And I think that's really important for guys to stay fit, because the more fit you are, like if you have an activity that's physical on a Saturday morning, you're not going to spend Friday night just drinking away. You know, you're going to be mindful and say, maybe I'll have a glass of wine, but I won't overdo it. And that really is part of the entire fitness journey. Even how you eat, you're more mindful, because I can't eat too much of that, because it does actually affect my
It's about a certain amount of balance and consistency.
Mm.
Bro, thank you for coming on to the show.
Thank you for having me.
To the guys out there, keep moving, stay healthy. Remember, wellness has got 7 dimensions, by the way.
Oh, okay. Tell me those dimensions.
Physical, emotional, intellectual,
Mm-hmm.
environmental.
Wow.
Yeah, social, and spiritual.
Okay.
So there's all these different dimensions, and if one of those things is not checked, like you could be living, could be awesome physically, mentally you're not cool.
To have all those things, but socially you're not doing.
Financially, and also occupational is a wellness as well. So you want to make sure that all those environments, those things are ticked and balanced off for you to live your best life. So guys, make sure that you live your best life. Fit life is obviously, for me, focused intention today, being the best that you can be in every way. You have one life, make the most of it now. Thank you to my guest, Tumisho Masha. Keep rising, keep shining.
Thank you, my king. Good to see you.
Bless up.
Bless.
And cut.